Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, as you guys can see up on the screen, we are going to be talking about the support, the $1 million man for TSM. We are going to be talking all about SwordArt, and I'm going to be giving my case of why I think he's one of the most underrated, underappreciated, most disrespected players, honestly, in the world, but for sure in the LCS. Obviously, he and TSM have been doing pretty well recently. They've been improving a ton from week to week, especially like even dating back to lock-in, where people were really entirely writing them off, to now I think they have a 10-4 record in the LCS, something crazy like that. Obviously, they still have a lot of things to fix. SwordArt is not playing, insanely well. TSM still has a ton of things to work on as well, but it is getting better. They are moving in the right direction. And in this video today, I wanted to talk about not only what SwordArt and TSM have been doing right, but also what has been going on with Suning Gaming since SwordArt left, because I think that is a very, very interesting part of this discussion as well. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys have not already, please take a quick second and smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps me out the YouTube algorithm, helps me continue to grow my channel, get my videos out to more and more people. That would be absolutely awesome. It would be absolutely insane. It is one of the easiest and best ways to help support my channel and my content if that's something you're interested in doing. Also, subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content so you don't miss out on any videos we have coming out in the near future, because we're going to have tons of League of Legends related content coming at you real soon. End of the regular season, playoffs, MSI, all that stuff is on the horizon. So we're going to have nothing but bangers coming your way. So here we go, getting into today's video, because again, this would be easy to see as like, oh, NA bias or TSM homer or whatever. But again, what made me think of this video idea and why I wanted to talk about this originally was way more Suning Gaming related, way more LPL focus and LPL related, and way more of what Suning has looked like since SwordArt has left, rather than how good SwordArt has done in North America, how good TSM has been doing, how good I think TSM is or isn't. Because again, you have to remember, TSM is the defending champions of the LCS right now. They won the summer split. Obviously, the team changed so much since then, and however good or bad you think TSM was then or is now, I mean, that's just the case. I mean, there wasn't, as far as just results and stuff, there wasn't a way that really SwordArt was going to improve TSM too much unless he, getting to MSI, getting to World, something like that, yes, obviously that would be great, but right now we're still in the regular season, so, there's nothing to prove in that regard so far. Obviously, yes, you can have increases on your regular season record and yada, 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 but, again, taking a look at Suning Gaming, dating back to last year, obviously, SwordArt was on the team. His very last split with the team was LPL 2020 Summer, where they finished with a record of 12-4. Very good record, but that was only good enough for 4th place in the LPL. But still, 4th place in probably the best league in the world in the LPL, especially top to bottom. A very, very competitive, very crazy league. Finishing 4th, not bad. Then in the 2020 Summer playoffs, to finish 3rd place. Okay, a slight improvement on their 4th place finish in the regular season. They got 3rd. That's cool. That's awesome. That's great. And then obviously in the regional, they got 1st, and then they secured the 3 seed for China. They got to go to Worlds. They didn't have to go to play-ins. LGD did. And then, obviously we get ahead to the World Championships, where they are placed in a group with G2, Team Liquid, and Machi Esports, which is overall a pretty tough group. Depending on how good you think G2 is, how good you think Liquid is, I think Liquid was really good last year, especially as a 3 seed. And obviously also I thought G2 was very good. And I think you see that actually that Liquid was pretty good, because Liquid took a game off Suning Gaming, the eventual 2nd place team, the team that got 2nd in this tournament eventually, and then also G2, they split 1-1. So Suning was a very good team last year. They took a game off G2. Yes, they did drop a game to Team Liquid, so that's maybe, not a great sign for them, but they did good things. They did play very well. Then in the bracket, obviously, they knock out JDG 3-1, they knock out Top 3-1, and then they even take a game off Damwon in the finals, which not very many teams were able to do at this tournament. Damwon, they only lost 1 game in the group stage. They only lost 1 game to G2 and 1 game to Suning, so just 3 games total that Damwon lost in this tournament, and one of them was to Suning Gaming. So they were very good last year with SwordArt. And then Obviously, people got to see them a ton, even people who don't watch the LPL and stuff very often. Most people at least watch Worlds. They got to see a lot of Suning Gaming play because making it that far in the tournament, you get to watch them a lot. And people, and rightfully so, were saying that, yeah, Suning's good, but SwordArt isn't the best player in their team in the LPL. He's not even one of the best supports. But again, the results, I think, really speak for themselves. I mean, obviously, Suning had amazing results the whole, at least from Summer Split on that. They did have a rough Spring Split, for sure, and you can't ignore that. But the most recent, what have they done for us lately? They had a great Summer Split, great Summer Playoffs, win the Regionals, go to Worlds, do well there. And SwordArt, this is only a 5-person, esport. Like, each person does have so much effect and so much influence and so much of what SwordArt brings to the team. He's not, apparently we've heard he's not like the main shot caller for TSM or anything like that, but he does bring a ton of game knowledge, a ton of game sense, the experience, and he is still very talented. Just because he is not one of the top 3 mechanical supports in the LPL, that does not mean he's not still very good, and that was something I think people were always overlooking. And since he's come to North America, I mean, yeah, you could say Core JJ is better, you could say Vulcan's better, and I wouldn't argue with you too much. Those are two also very amazing, very great players, but I think SwordArt is proving more and more week after week that he is absolutely in that class of player, that he is right there with them. If he is the 3rd best support in the LCS, he is right on the heels of the top 2, and it's only because those top 2 guys are also very good and are also world class. So that is what Suning looked like last year. That's kind of what led, that's what we saw before he was, coming to the United States, coming to TSM. But now, Suning Gaming, recently, they are on like a 3-match win streak, a lot of 2-0s, but against not some of the best teams in the LPL. Before that, they were on a little bit of a slide against JDG, against Edward Gaming. They had been losing some games. And overall, when we take a look at the LPL standings, right now, they are currently in 8th place. They are sitting at just a 6-5 record. I mean, they're behind so many teams. The LPL is so crazy; it has so many teams in it. 6-5 doesn't necessarily seem terrible, but I mean, they are behind so many teams, and to climb up this mountain when again they haven't been getting a lot of wins off a lot of the teams that are above them. Again, we saw that they lost to JDG, they lost to EDG. I believe they lost to RNG early on in the season, 2-1. So a lot of their wins are against the teams below them. A lot of their losses are against teams above them. They are kind of struggling, and overall they have the same lineup except for their support. The only thing they're missing is SwordArt. Again, the most recent split, they went 4th. In the playoffs, they got 3rd. They went to Worlds and got 2nd. This team was on the up and up. They were going upwards with SwordArt. And then on the other side, you see SwordArt leaves them, and Suning's maybe struggling a little bit. They're kind of, all of a sudden, if things hold up and if things continue like this for the rest of the year, they're potentially not even going to be going back to Worlds. A team that got 2nd just a year ago might not even be making it back. They're struggling just in the LPL. They are a middle-of-the-pack team currently. Yes, it's a long season. A lot of stuff can change. People can get better over the course of the year. And a ton of teams in the world right now are still kind of figuring out their rosters after changes and metas. And there's a million variables, a million things that go into it. But, again, the facts are that TSM is looking good. They're tied for 2nd as far as record. Yes, they don't have the head-to-head against Dignitas, so right now they are in 3rd, but they're just a game back of Cloud9, who is a very good and very talented team, and they are 2nd place in the LCS. They're threatening to be the 1 seed. Again, they are the defending champions, but they did not win the regular season last year. They are looking like a better, overall stronger team than they were last year, especially in the regular season, and it'll be interesting to see. And right now, TSM currently sitting in the top 3 would be going to Worlds for North America. They would be one of these top 3 teams that would be representing us at international competition. So, since SwordArt has left Suning, yes, his time with TSM didn't start out great. The lock-in tournament didn't go well. They looked absolutely terrible at the beginning, but they have slowly been ramping up. They have slowly been getting better. They've been taking games off of some of these very talented teams. They've beaten Cloud9. They've beaten 100 Thieves. They've beaten Team Liquid. These teams that, a lot of people were picking above them. A lot of people were saying were more talented than them. And the teams like Liquid and Cloud9 with, the better supports and the better overall teams and the better bot lanes. They've been finding ways to get the best of them through their, proactive play style and experience, and honestly, a lot of it I think is due in part to SwordArt. We have seen Lost looking like an absolute beast recently, and part of it I do believe that he is a good prospect. I've been saying since even in the preseason that I was very hopeful for him, that I was excited for him, and that I was going to hope he did well because I did think he had some talent. I mean, he was the best AD carry in Academy. But I think you have to say a large part of his progression is got to be doing thanks to playing with SwordArt as well. SwordArt, I mean, just being able to interact with a guy like that has to make you develop so much faster, has to make you get so much better, has to make you so much more confident on the stage, on the Rift. And yeah, so again, SwordArt leaves Suning. Suning maybe looking a little shaky, maybe dropping down a little bit. SwordArt goes to TSM. All of a sudden, TSM is looking like a stronger team. They're looking like a better, scary team. And yes, while they were the NA #1 seed last year, I don't really think that anyone thought they were the best team in North America. And obviously, they proved that in a lot of ways by ending up going 0-6. The only reason they even made it to Worlds or were able to win the championship in the first place was because the LCS had a losers bracket for the first time ever, which is something that they had never done before. And you know, like in the regular season, they weren't that great. In the playoffs, they weren't that great until they went on this crazy run. But then obviously that kind of flamed out again once they actually made it to Worlds and everything. But I think they are actually looking a lot stronger overall this year. I think they are looking like a much better team. And I am honestly much more hopeful for them. Like, who knows if they're going to make it to MSI or whatever, but even just looking ahead to Worlds, how much development this team is going to be able to have until then, knowing hopefully Lost will be able to continue to develop. SwordArt will get more comfortable here. TSM will continue to learn from Bjergsen and his expertise and knowledge and everything. That Spica will continue to develop. You know, like, the future is bright for TSM, and I think they are a top 3 team in North America, in my opinion. I think they are going to continue to develop and get better. And if they do make it to Worlds again this year, I hope and think that they wouldn't be going 0-6, because again, overall, I do think they are kind of a better, more talented team. I thought Doublelift was very washed up and not good last year. I thought Biofrost was not very good last year. And I think Lost, SwordArt, and a lot of the other pieces can be just kind of better versions of that last year TSM team. But you know, there have been a lot of people still kind of hating on TSM and still kind of hating on SwordArt and TSM's bot lane because of those early showings in the lock-in tournament. The lock-in tournament had insane viewership. Everyone was hyped up. Everyone was excited. Everyone was tuning in. And since the lock-in tournament, viewership has just kind of dwindled. You know, it's a regular season, especially the middle of the regular season, where not very many people care. So people might not really know. People may have not been watching these TSM games. SwordArt might, I mean, he does kind of still have a bad rap with people from what he did early on in the season. I think he is just underrated, underappreciated. I think he is overly disrespected, and I think that he deserves more credit. I really think he deserves more praise. The team that lost him is hurting without him, and the team that got him is really reaping those rewards and really seeing a ton of benefits of having just an absolute world-class support, a brilliant League of Legends mind, and just a really good guy to have on your team. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. I would appreciate it so much. Also, leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think SwordArt is overrated, underrated? There's really cases to be made for both. Again, you could say he's overrated because look at how much he's getting paid. Look at how much, you know, people are hyping him up. People are saying he's going to be this insane game changer, yada yada. And I wouldn't necessarily agree or argue with that too much, because I don't think he will ever be able to live up to that price tag. I think that price tag is absolutely insane, and it just doesn't really even make sense. But then again, I made my case and everything for why I think he's a little bit underrated. I definitely understand both sides. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!